Hey Pisces, how's it going? My name's Alex. I think the Oracle and I might have something interesting for you today. Before I turned on the camera, I was tuning in to your radio station, and very quickly I saw a big yin-yang floating in the sky, and the sections of the yin-yang came apart, and so did the dots. The dots kind of separated as well. And they spun around counterclockwise, and as they were spinning, they were also coming back together and then separating again and coming back together and separating again over and over and over again. And meanwhile, just behind this spiraling, spinning yin-yang were fireworks, a display of fireworks going off, like at New Year or the 4th of July or something. And it was very beautiful. And the first thing that I thought of was the alchemical maxim solve et coagula, or separatio et coagula, depending on which alchemical text you've read. But essentially, the idea is, in order to fully understand something, we first have to separate it apart, look at the constituent parts in like a Cartesian manner, and then when we understand each little part of a thing, we can then bring it back together and see it in a more holistic light. You know, that idea that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. But sometimes we need to examine the parts on their own and make sense of them and then bring them back together. But this was happening over and over again and spinning around counterclockwise. So this could be something that you repeatedly do. This could be something that you've done in the past. Spinning counterclockwise sometimes indicates something that from our past that we need to learn from or reflect upon. But in general, a yin-yang is like light and dark, the sort of polarities that reality is composed of. You know, all things in reality are created by polarities. Every phenomenon has its opposite, and you can see, you know, like hot has cold, up has down, light has dark, positive has negative, male has female. And there are all these polarities that interact with each other, and through this interaction of these poles, these opposite points, you get creation, you get reality, you get consciousness, you get experience. You know, there's subject and object. This is another pole, the subject and the object. And by having this opposite, we see reality, we experience it, we create it. Everything comes into being because of the interaction of opposites. And the display of fireworks was very exciting, it was very celebratory. I'm not exactly sure what it means, what kind of significance this might have for you. But then I pulled an I-Ching hexagram for you, and I got hexagram number 18, or Gu, remedying. No changing lines. That's a mistake. Don't look at that. And we have an image of mountain over wind. Those are the two elemental symbols that make up this hexagram. Now, mountain's characteristic is to stand still, and wind's characteristic is to move. So here we have a lot of yang elements, the mountain, standing still and restraining all of the yin elements, or the wind. And the wind is like ready to follow. The yin is ready to follow the yang and do something. It's like there's this energy that's like, all right, we doing this? We ready? And the mountain, the yang energy, your active principle is just sitting there for the moment. And what this is telling me is like, get moving. Like, do it. You have this opportunity to step forward and move, because this situation, this gua, this hexagram called remedying, is indicative that there's a state of decay, a state of ruin that you're in, or that has happened. I know that's kind of like intense, but you may have inherited a really bad situation from your predecessors. Like someone else might have created a mess for you, or maybe you created the mess yourself. This hexagram usually indicates inheriting a bad mess that you have to clean up now. But maybe that's not it for everyone. Maybe some past mistakes that you've made have landed you in a ruinous or decaying situation. But now this situation needs to be remedied, and you have the opportunity to do it. There's some sort of support, whether it's social support, financial support, or spiritual support, support from yourself, support from others, support from God. It's not exactly clear, but there's this wind energy, this yin energy that's like, okay, we're ready. This ending is leading to a new beginning. You got to take that step, and you have to start this new beginning. So maybe you're sitting still for the moment because you don't notice that there is this support. You might be like looking at all this ruin and decay around you in this terrible situation and kind of being like a little shocked, maybe a little overwhelmed, maybe disappointed. And you're just kind of sitting there like, oh man. But if you are just sitting there, get ready to start moving, but take the time to really think it through. You know, if you need like a few days or some time to really think long term before taking this step. But you got to take the step soon, because this situation's only going to get worse if you sit around and sit on your hands and don't do anything with it. But at the same time, you have to think through the whole thing carefully. What led to this state of decay? What led to this ruin? What brought you here? And you have to remove that corrupting influence. Whatever created this decaying situation, this ruinous situation, that influence, that cause needs to be eliminated. It needs to be gotten rid of completely. There's some sort of just corruption here. And there's this idea of like going along to get along. In this case, it's a really bad idea. Like when we go along just to get along and we keep our heads down, we can enable evil to take root, to go along and get along, because we're not resisting it, or we're not separating ourselves from it. And like we can get caught up in the evil, and we ourselves can degenerate because we're just going along to get along with some negative influence, some evil influence. And it might have brought some ruinous decay into your life, this attitude of going along to get along. So if that's the situation, which this hexagram sometimes points to, like remedy that. You gotta root that attitude out, because attitude is the key now. The transformation of your attitude is really what's going to transform this situation. And when you are able to muster up that inner strength, have that shift in your mind, and the shift in your perception, the shift in consciousness, the shift in your enthusiasm, whatever it is that changes your attitude, that's going to kickstart you forward. And that's where you can potentially gain like a really great reputation from this experience, from this situation. Because if you can change your attitude even through this ruinous situation, people will notice, and it will like inspire them, and you can gain support from them, or at least you'll have a good reputation in your social group, your business group, your spiritual group, whether you're working with people or non-human entities. Like your change in attitude about this situation is going to earn you like the accolade. It's going to earn you that support, that extra enthusiasm is going to bring you forward, and it's going to set the example, and it's going to like open the floodgates for inspiration, and it's going to make your next step successful. As you remedy this situation, you find out what led to this, remedy that, step forward, but think long term. Think about how all these decisions affect other people, how it affects the future, how there's like a lot of responsibilities here. And you may have adopted a lot of responsibilities, or you might be about to adopt a lot of responsibilities because of this situation. Or you adopted them and then realized that, oh, this is a ruinous situation and now I'm responsible for it. I have to clean all this up. So we have to watch our, perhaps our desire to do something selfish with this new responsibility. It's important that we do something good with this opportunity, with these new responsibilities. It may be a ruinous situation, but like when the guy who wrote the I-Ching here, King Wen, when he overthrew the tyrant, before he led that revolution to overthrow this tyrannical dynasty, this tyrannical government, he thought about it deeply and came to understand like what exactly am I doing and why am I doing it, and what does it mean when I do it and when I complete it, when I accomplish this goal. Basically what it means is I'm going to remedy a tyrannical and oppressive situation, and then I have to now take care of all the people. After I become the new government, it is now my responsibility to do something good with that power. I can't just do something selfish with it. I can't just become the new tyrant after overthrowing the old one. So I have to look at precisely what caused this terrible situation that led to everyone wanting to revolt, and make sure that is gone, that influence is gone, so that there's no need for revolt in the future, that everyone will be prosperous and happy. So you've got this big thing on your shoulders, this big weight about this situation, and I think you're seeing it clearly. I think because you can separate and bring back together and separate and bring back together. You might have to do this multiple times, and you're learning from your past mistakes. You're learning from maybe someone else's past mistakes too. That's something that is a very good skill, is to not only learn from your own past mistakes, but learn from other people's mistakes so that you don't have to make them. And I think you're doing this. I think you're examining all these moving parts, all these separate nitty-gritty aspects of this situation that befell you, or a group of people, or whatever this is you're in. You're really picking it apart, and you're doing it very well, and then you're bringing it back together and seeing the patterns of how it all fits together, and then you take it apart again to look at the different parts in a different way. Then you put it back together, and now you're seeing new patterns and connections and a new holistic view of it. And like this repeated solve et coagula, this repeated separation and bringing back together, is really bringing you a lot of insight into this situation. A lot of really good knowledge that's going to help you know exactly what step to take, because you got to take that step really soon. Otherwise, this situation is just going to get even more out of hand. But I think you know that. I get the vibe that you know that. So I'm going to spin a coin here. It's going to land on one of these 24 aspects of reality, one of these symbols here. And that'll be the symbol, the aspect of life that the Oracle wants us to focus on, and I'll pull some cards for you. So Oracle, what does Pisces need to know today? So here it is pointing at the Archangel Anael. It's a little heart-shaped symbol. This is the planetary spirit of Venus. So this is like the Venutian aspect. You know, the mother of reality, that womb of reality. Sphere 3 of the Kabbalah on the Tree of Life, if you study the Kabbalah. Sphere 3, Binah. So it has some relation to the planet of Saturn as well. That thing which creates the boundaries in which creation can occur, like a womb. You know, a womb is a type of boundary, and creation occurs in it. Queen of Swords just poked her head out real quick. And that third sphere on the Tree of Life is associated with the queens in the tarot deck. So yeah, you're being asked to really pay attention to what kind of future you can create, what kind of reality you can create for yourself right now, and for others too. You know, Binah, that third sphere, that's a very high transcendent sphere. That is like the mother of the universe. She affects all life. You might have that type of responsibility. Or you just have a really deep responsibility for yourself, and your next moves are going to have a huge impact on your future. And there's this deep, creative, inspiring energy that you can work with right now. And there's also a receptivity to Anael, a receiving, like a womb receiving the seed, right? So there could be some spiritual insight that you're gaining, some inspiration and enthusiasm from the higher worlds that you can open yourself up to and gain some deep wisdom, gain some very deep wisdom from the spiritual world right now. You're a fertile soil at this moment for good ideas, good spiritual impulses, and you can bring those spiritual impulses into life, you know, in a state of decay. You know, compost is a state of decay. Very, very healthy topsoil. Loam and that top soil of that top layer of soil is very, very fertile, and it's like something that is decaying or has decayed. So as a gardener, I love things that decay because I can find a lot of good use for that stuff. So you've got a lot of really good fertilizer right now at your disposal that you can really do something new, start a new chapter, open a new chapter here. Give birth to something new. You've got a great opportunity to do it. So what does Pisces need to know today? These three don't want to leave my hand. We're going with these. Okay, so we've got the Two of Pentacles, we've got the Knight of Cups, and we have the Wheel of Fortune. Very interesting. So I'd like to point out first on the Two of Pentacles here in this deck, it says Harmonious Change instead of Two of Pentacles. Some of these cards have fun little words in them. Harmonious Change. Oh, look at that. Yin Yang's in the sky. You can't make this stuff up. like what I saw in the meditation. And the Knight of Cups, very Piscean card. And the Wheel of Fortune, also quite Piscean. So yeah, here I'm just feeling like the wheel is turning in your favor. And when the wheel turns, it's kind of scary because you can get crushed by the wheel, especially if you're on the rim of the wheel. But if you put yourself in the center of the wheel, that's where the spirit is, in the center, the hub of the wheel, which technically doesn't exist, right? The hub of a wheel is just an empty space. Here there's some metal in that, but when you think of the hub of a wheel, it is simultaneously the most important part of the wheel, and yet it technically doesn't exist. It's just empty space, and the rest of the wheel turns around it. So if you can take that spiritual reflection, center yourself there, you can see how the wheel turns and how it's going to turn in the future, and you can plan accordingly, and probably very quickly, because of how much insight you've been gaining about this situation. It's probably going to come to you very clearly and obviously of how to proceed, what the consequences will be, the long-term consequences, how it will affect others, how it will affect you. You'll probably see it quite clearly, and you'll see how the situation is going to change for the better. Here we kind of have two wheels of fortune, those two little pentacles spinning around in her hands there. We have more of that spinning. And so a counterclockwise spinning, if you look at this in terms of counterclockwise spinning, then we have this mercurial sort of Set the Nubis character here, this sort of syncretic Greco-Egyptian deity, this kind of Hermes Anubis, moving upward, right? It's like his turn to ascend the wheel. And so if you feel like you've been waiting for your time, it's coming. And you'll have this clarity of thought. You'll also have a really good sense of justice. You'll be lighthearted about it too. You know, your heart will weigh less than the feather on the scale of Anubis. And that's that change of attitude, that lightheartedness, instead of choosing to be like negative or angry or selfish or vengeful about inheriting this situation, or even like self-hating or anything like that, if it may have been some of your choices that led to this. That change of attitude, making your heart lighter than the feather on the scale, is going to help you ascend that Wheel of Fortune. And like I'm getting a lot of that heart energy here with this Knight of Cups, is like, yes, just a beautiful change of energy within yourself that you can cultivate, because you've got a great opportunity. You have this clarity of thought that you see the light in the dark in the sky, and you understand its nature. You know, you understand the nature of yin and yang and how it changes and cycles through, and how to move it when it becomes stagnant and collapses. When a situation collapses, you're realizing, or maybe you've just realized, how to get that yin and yang energy moving together. How you choose to move with the yang energy, and then the yin energy follows, and you have this mutual support. So the initiative of the yang and the support of the yin working together, the light and the dark working together. You know, the light moves and the dark follows. And this polarity is what gives root to creation. What keeps the wheel turning. When things are lacking, they increase, and when things are excessive, they decrease. And this is all based on polarities that spin in a cycle. And if you understand how that works and can see it in the situation you're in, you make such excellent, healthy decisions that are very effective, very remedial. They are like a medicine for the situation you're in. Let me pull another card for you. Yeah, this Knight of Cups is like, it's like ready to go. Ready to help, you know. This could be like a spiritual entity that's like offering you this attitude change, or like a key to the attitude change. So there might be maybe an ancestor or an angel or something like that. Just an impulse from God, I'm not sure, but something like that could be like, here's how you change your attitude. Let me just give you this like little loving boost of energy. It'll shift the way you see things, and your attitude will shift, and you'll like see the whole situation shift around you. Because it's a pretty bad situation, I'm not gonna lie. Getting remedying in the I-Ching is like, oh God, ruin and decay. What happened? Gotta do something here. All right, let's see here. We got Two of Pentacles, harmonious change, with the Wheel of Fortune and the Knight of Cups, with remedying. What does Pisces need to know about this stuff? On the I-L token or aspect. Yeah, big uplifting heart power. Oh, play. That's a lovely card. Do you like mallard ducks, geese? What are they? Mallard? I don't know. If they're ducks or geese, I don't understand the difference. But here we have some, mallards swimming around in this beautiful little fountain play. So yeah, we are being asked to have some lightheartedness. Coming out on the I-L thing, this is just like peak lightheartedness and choosing joy over the other emotions we feel, because we can choose to feel happiness and joy as like an exercise. Even when things are really, really bad, we can psych ourselves up into a good mood because we choose to, like if you're sad or something, try listening to some like really uplifting music. Like when you're angry, if you could do this exercise to listen to maybe Christmas music or something that has that vibe that's just super like happy and feel good, and like try to remain angry. It'll be kind of difficult to remain angry. Or like if you're sad or angry, like choose to just smile, like exercise those muscles in your face, just choose to do it. And watch how it immediately transforms your mood. Like stay angry while forcing yourself to smile. So we can have these disciplines where we can transform and transmute our emotions that we don't want to feel into emotions that we do want to feel. We can transmute emotions that hold us back and keep us in a state of ruin and decay, and transmute them into emotions that will give us a boost of enthusiasm and energy and push us forward. And this is the real secret of alchemy. If you study the alchemical texts, whether they're from ancient China or Europe or wherever they're from, it's all really a metaphor for how to transmute these sorts of inner things, these emotions and feelings and thoughts and habits and whatever that are within us. It's not really about transmuting physical metals and materials and things like that, although, chemistry is cool. It could be about that too. But here, choosing joyfulness and making this situation into like a game, gamifying this ruinous situation, maybe not literally, although maybe literally could work, but in your own mind, like, okay, this is a problem to be overcome. This is like a challenge. This is a puzzle. This is something like that, and turning it into like this fun thing. Like, okay, I got to do this and this, and I can see it this way, and the pieces go together like that, and like make it into like this adventure game or something like that. That could help you have a better attitude about it. It's just an option. It's just a suggestion. You don't have to do any of that, but finding a playfulness, using that Venusian energy, that Venusian spirit, Anael and the planetary spirit of Venus, she really likes that playfulness to help soothe our pain when we're going through hardships and troubles. She cracks jokes at a good time. She enjoys smiling. You know, she likes to laugh. And if we play into that and harmonize with that Venusian energy, this situation will become more vibrant and vital, and this state of decay becomes useful compost for your garden. I'm going to pull a token for you. One last thing for you to think about today, Pisces, to round out this reading. Let's see here. Let's see, pull out one last token on the Anael Venus aspect. What does Pisces need to know here? Oh, look at that. We have the token for the nurse. I did a Virgo reading today, and they got the nurse aspect from the board here, which also has a nurse aspect. I made these divination systems to kind of sync up. But here, this is, again, very, very Anael, very, very Venusian here. Now, you might have a very trusted companion who can really help you out. This could be someone you know, a close friend, a lover, a family member, someone like that who is just ready to help you. You know, like that mountain, that yang energy that's sitting still, like kind of in shock at this situation. There's some yin energy who's like, so, what do we do? Like, we're ready to move on. We're ready to do something with the situation. We can solve this problem. Like, let's go, let's go, let's go. I'm waiting on you to take the first step, and I'm here for you. Whatever you need, I'm here. It could be a spiritual entity, an angel, an ancestor. It could be a part of yourself, this hidden, enthusiastic part of yourself that for some reason you're not letting out yet. But there is this supportive, enthusiastic energy or person or spirit with you who's just like ready to get going. As soon as you make that first step and decide to feel that joyfulness, to change your attitude, to look at what your future is going to be like, think it through, take that step, and then suddenly this supportive energy is unlocked. This enthusiasm pushes you forward and is like, yep, here we go. Now we're doing it. And then like all these things start getting done for you and with you. And it starts to smooth out really nicely. And you feel like you're not on your own anymore. If that's something that you feel right now, which I think you might. At least some of you might feel that you're kind of left there holding the bag kind of a feeling. But you're not. There's some supportive energy that's right there with you who's willing to do what you need it to do. You know, the nurse is like that perfect helper that just you say jump, like I ask how high, like come on, I'm ready to go. So yeah, there's just a funk that you might be in, and you just, like I said, you see it, you separate it, you put it together, you see the patterns, you learn from the past, you apply the remedy, you eliminate the corrupting influence, you make sure you're going into the future with clear thought, you understand the cycles of yin and yang, and when it all comes together and you're ready to make that step, you realize you have a support ready to help you out. So Pisces, I think that's all the Oracle and I have for you today. I hope this was helpful, or at least entertaining for you. I always appreciate you hanging out with me. Thank you so much for stopping by. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you next time.